What if the greatest threat in your life isn't the obvious villain, but the smiling face you trust? What if manipulation doesn't come with a warning, but with a comforting touch and soothing words? In a world where deception often wears the mask of sincerity, how do we protect ourselves? Not with fear, but with wisdom, not by building walls, but by sharpening our minds. At Practical Philosophy, we believe that clarity is the antidote to manipulation. In today's video, we'll uncover the hidden tactics of those who seek to control, deceive, and exploit, and how the timeless teachings of Stoic philosophy can help you see through the illusion before it's too late. Subscribe to Practical Philosophy for weekly insights on self-mastery, human nature, and the art of living wisely. Now, let's begin. 1. The urge to control, a false sense of power. Power and control, these desires are deeply embedded in human nature. We all seek stability, predictability, and, to some extent, influence over our surroundings. But when someone's need for control extends beyond themselves and into the lives of others, it becomes dangerous. What starts as care often turns into domination, and what begins as guidance can quickly transform into oppression. The paradox of control is this: the more someone seeks to control others, the less control they have over themselves. Their fear of uncertainty compels them to impose rigid structures on those around them. Yet in doing so, they become prisoners of their own anxiety. They mistake dominance for security, possession for love, and manipulation for wisdom. The Stoic view on true power. According to Stoic philosophy, true power does not come from controlling others, it comes from mastering oneself. A truly powerful individual does not impose their will onto others but instead focuses on governing their own emotions, desires, and actions. The Stoics taught that the only thing we can genuinely control is our own mind. Everything else, other people's decisions, external events, even the flow of time, is beyond our grasp. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic emperors, understood this well. Despite ruling the most powerful empire of his time, he constantly reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Real control is not about forcing others to comply. It is about leading by example. It is about remaining unshaken in the face of adversity, making thoughtful choices, and allowing others the freedom to be who they are. When control masquerades as love. The most insidious form of control is the one disguised as care. A controlling person might say, "Checkmark, I only want what's best for you." Checkmark, "I'm protecting you from bad influences." Checkmark, "I wouldn't have to do this if you just listened to me." But beneath these words lies a deep insecurity. Control is not love. Control is fear. Fear of losing power. Fear of uncertainty. Fear of vulnerability. Jack and Julia's story is a cautionary tale. Their relationship began with mutual trust. But over time, Jack developed an irrational fear of losing Julia. That fear drove him to slowly reshape her world. Small Diamond, he criticized her friends, convincing her they were bad influences. Small Diamond, he monitored her choices, under the guise of wanting the best for her. Small Diamond, he made her question herself, subtly eroding her independence. At first, Julia compromised to keep the peace, but with every concession, she felt her sense of self slipping away. She wasn't in a relationship anymore, she was in a cage. The truth is, love cannot exist without freedom. When one person controls, the other suffocates, and when freedom is lost, love turns into possession. Breaking free. The path to self-mastery. So how do we escape the cycle of control? Keycap 1. Recognize the signs. If you feel trapped, manipulated, or forced into submission, it's a sign of unhealthy control. Keycap 2. Reclaim your autonomy. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once said, "Can you no longer see a road to freedom? It's right in front of you." That road begins with a choice: to assert your independence, to reclaim your voice, and to refuse to let fear dictate your relationships. Keycap 3. Master your own mind. If you recognize controlling tendencies within yourself, it's time for self-reflection. Ask yourself. Checkmark, am I trying to control others because I feel insecure? Checkmark, do I trust those I care about to make their own choices? Checkmark, am I using control as a way to avoid dealing with my own fears? The Stoics believed that self-awareness is the key to wisdom. If you find yourself being controlled, or worse, becoming the one who controls, step back and ask, am I accepting and respecting the freedom of others? The answer will reveal the truth. 2. The mask of charm, when kindness becomes a trap. Picture this. You meet someone who is effortlessly captivating. Their words are soothing, their presence intoxicating. They seem to understand you in ways few others do. They listen intently, make you feel special, and appear to have an almost magical ability to connect. But beneath this charm, something far more sinister lurks. Charm. A double-edged sword. Charm, in its purest form, is not inherently bad. Genuine charm comes from warmth, authenticity, and a sincere desire to connect with others. But when charm is weaponized, it becomes one of the most dangerous tools of manipulation. Malicious individuals use charm as a mask, an illusion designed to lower your defenses, making you trust them before you've had a chance to question their true motives. They mirror your interests, appeal to your emotions, and subtly guide you into their control without you even realizing it. By the time you sense something is off, they've already gained your trust, making it much harder to walk away. The Stoics warned us about this kind of deception. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, emphasized the importance of seeing things as they truly are, not as they appear on the surface. The key to avoiding deception is not to be blinded by appearances, but to look beyond them and seek the reality hidden underneath. If someone is trying to impress you, ask yourself, what do they want in return? Marcus Aurelius. The subtle signs of deceptive charm. Not all charm is dangerous, but there are subtle red flags that reveal when someone is using it for manipulation. Here are a few. Small diamond, they are too good to be true. They seem perfect from the start. Always saying the right things, agreeing with you on everything, and making you feel like you've finally found someone who gets you. This level of instant connection is often a fabrication. Small diamond, they create a false sense of intimacy too quickly. They use intense eye contact, personal stories, and deep emotional conversations to make you feel an instant bond. But real relationships, whether friendships, business partnerships, or romances, take time to build. Small diamond, they make you feel indebted. Every favor, every kind gesture, every act of selflessness subtly creates a sense of obligation. Eventually, they will expect something in return, and you'll feel guilty refusing. Small diamond, they shift from ideal to intimidating the moment you resist their influence. Their charm fades. Suddenly, their warm demeanor turns cold. They may guilt trip you, make you feel selfish, or subtly pressure you into compliance. The case of Mark, a master of the mask. Consider the case of Mark, a highly respected businessman. He was charismatic, helpful, and always willing to lend a hand, but his kindness was never free. At first, he seemed like the perfect mentor, always available, always ready to offer advice and support. He made everyone feel important, valued, and connected. But over time, people around him realized that his generosity was not a virtue, it was a currency. Every favor came with an invisible price tag. Small diamond, when he helped a colleague complete a difficult project, he later hinted that they owed him a favor. Small diamond, when he volunteered to lead a new team, he used their success as leverage for a promotion. Small diamond, when he gave advice, it wasn't out of goodwill. It was to establish control over others' decisions. Slowly but surely, those around him realized that Mark's charm was not genuine, it was transactional. And like all transactions, there came a time when the bill had to be paid. How to protect yourself from manipulative charm. The best defense against manipulative charm is awareness. Stoicism teaches us to question appearances and observe people's actions rather than just their words. Checkmark, ask yourself, is this person's kindness unconditional? or does it come with expectations? Genuine people do not keep a hidden scoreboard. They give because they care, not because they expect something in return. Checkmark. Slow down and observe. Real relationships take time to develop. If someone seems too perfect too quickly, take a step back and reassess. Checkmark. Trust actions over words. A manipulator's words will always be convincing, but their actions will eventually betray them. Look for inconsistencies between what they say and what they do. Checkmark. Pay attention to how they react when challenged. If you say no to them, do they respect your boundaries? Or do they guilt trip, pressure, or punish you? Checkmark. Cultivate your own inner strength. The more secure you are in yourself, the harder it is for others to manipulate you. As Epictetus said, if someone tries to manipulate you, it is because they see you as dependent on them. Become independent, and they lose all power. Final thoughts. Seeing beyond the illusion. Charm, when genuine, is a gift, a beautiful trait that can create deep and meaningful connections. But when it is used as a weapon, it becomes a tool of deception, control, and exploitation. Do not be fooled by appearances. Do not be blinded by smooth words. And above all, never ignore the feeling in your gut that tells you something isn't right. Because once the mask slips, the truth will always be revealed. 3. The absence of empathy, the cold void within. Empathy is what makes us human. It is the invisible thread that weaves together our relationships, allowing us to share in both joy and suffering. It is the ability to stand in another's shoes, to feel their pain, to celebrate their triumphs, and to offer kindness in their darkest moments. Without empathy, there is no connection, only isolation, exploitation, and indifference. But not everyone possesses this fundamental trait. Some people are either incapable of empathy or choose to suppress it in pursuit of power, status, or self-interest. To them, emotions are a weakness, compassion is an obstacle, and relationships are purely transactional. When a person lacks empathy, their actions become cold, calculated, and devoid of any true humanity. When humanity fades, the cost of indifference. The absence of empathy doesn't just affect individuals, it poisons entire environments. Consider the case of a CEO who dismisses an employee's desperate request for time off to care for a dying parent. To him, personal struggles are irrelevant, only results matter. He sees his employees as mere tools for productivity, not as human beings with emotions and responsibilities. At first, this kind of leadership might appear strong, unyielding, efficient, focused on results, but in reality, it is a path to destruction. Employees lose motivation, resentment festers, and trust erodes. A toxic workplace is born, not because of incompetence, but because of a fundamental lack of human connection. And it doesn't stop there. Crossmark. Families fracture when a parent lacks empathy, reducing their child's emotions to overreactions or weaknesses. Crossmark. Friendships collapse when one person refuses to acknowledge or validate the struggles of another. Crossmark. Societies crumble when leaders prioritize power and profit over the well-being of the people they serve. Empathy is not just a personal trait, it is the foundation of a functional and meaningful existence. Without it, the world becomes a battlefield of self-interest, where people are used, discarded, and forgotten. The Stoic perspective, strength in compassion. To the untrained eye, empathy may seem like a weakness, a soft trait that makes people vulnerable. But the Stoics disagreed. They believed that true strength is found in compassion, in the ability to remain kind even in the face of cruelty, to stay just even when surrounded by injustice. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, put it simply, it is not what you endure that matters, but how you endure it. Compassion is not a weakness, it is a power. It is what allows us to lift others up, rather than tear them down. It is what separates leaders from tyrants, friends from manipulators, lovers from controllers. Empathy does not mean blindly trusting everyone or allowing yourself to be exploited. It means understanding others while maintaining your own boundaries. It means helping where you can while recognizing that some people will take advantage of kindness. How to recognize those who lack empathy. Not all individuals who lack empathy are overtly cruel. Some are subtler, masters of emotional detachment. Incapable of true connection but skilled at pretending they care. Here are some signs. Small diamond, they dismiss your emotions. When you express sadness, frustration, or even joy, they brush it off, minimize it, or make you feel guilty for feeling that way. Small diamond, they never take responsibility. Instead of acknowledging their mistakes, they deflect, blame others, or gaslight you into thinking you're overreacting. Small diamond, they show no remorse. When they hurt someone, they don't feel guilt, they justify, excuse, or ignore the consequences. Small diamond, they only engage when they need something. They appear interested and engaged only when they want something from you. Once they have it, they disappear. Small diamond, they lack true friendships. They may have many acquaintances, but few, if any, deep, meaningful relationships. If someone in your life exhibits multiple of these traits, take caution. Their inability to feel empathy means they are capable of hurting others without a second thought. The key question: are you cultivating empathy? Perhaps the most important reflection is not just on others, but on ourselves. In a world that often prioritizes success over sincerity, power over principles, and ambition over authenticity, it is easy to become desensitized. So ask yourself, do I truly listen when others share their struggles? Or am I just waiting for my turn to speak? Do I extend kindness without expecting anything in return? Or do I see relationships as transactions? Do I judge people too quickly? Or do I take the time to understand where they're coming from? The answer defines the kind of person you become. We do not lose our humanity all at once, it happens slowly. In the small choices we make every day. And in those choices, we either move toward compassion or indifference, connection or isolation, love or cold detachment. Choose wisely. 4. The web of lies. When truth becomes a casualty. Lies are the sharpest weapon in a manipulator's arsenal. Unlike physical harm, which can be seen and healed, deception seeps into the mind, warping reality itself. It plants seeds of doubt, distorts perception, and erodes the foundation of trust. A skilled liar can make you doubt your own thoughts, question your memories, and even turn against those who truly care for you. They weave an intricate web where facts are fluid, where reality is twisted to serve their agenda, and where the only truth that remains is the one that benefits them. The power of deception. Why people lie. Lying is not just about hiding the truth, it is about rewriting reality. People lie for many reasons, but manipulative individuals use lies with one ultimate goal: control. Small diamond, to manipulate. Lies allow them to shape perceptions, steering people's thoughts and actions in their favor. Small diamond, to protect their image. They craft a persona that hides their flaws, weaknesses, and true intentions. Small diamond, to avoid accountability. Instead of admitting mistakes, they shift blame, distort facts, or create false narratives. Small diamond, to create division. Lies are often used to pit people against each other, ensuring loyalty by fostering distrust. Pathological liars do not just tell occasional untruths, they live in a world of fabrication. Their stories change frequently, their narratives contradict, and when confronted, they react with exaggerated defensiveness, anger, denial, or even gaslighting, making you feel like you're the problem. The Stoic view. Truth as a pillar of strength. Stoicism teaches us that the foundation of a good life is built on truth and wisdom. In a world where falsehood is often rewarded, choosing to uphold the truth is an act of courage. Epictetus, one of the most profound Stoic thinkers, famously said, "It is not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them." This reminds us that what harms us is not just lies themselves, but our failure to recognize them. If we allow deception to distort our perception, we risk making poor judgments and walking blindly into manipulation. Truth, however, brings clarity and freedom. It may be painful, it may be inconvenient, but it is always the strongest foundation upon which to build a meaningful life. How to recognize a skilled liar. Manipulators rarely lie outright. Instead, they use subtle techniques to control narratives while avoiding direct responsibility. Here's how they do it. Small diamond, they frequently change their story. If you ask the same question at different times, you may notice inconsistencies. Their version of events shifts based on what benefits them most at the moment. Small diamond, they avoid giving direct answers. When confronted, they deflect, answer vaguely, or turn the question back on you. Their goal is to confuse, not clarify. Small diamond, they exaggerate or minimize depending on the situation. When they need sympathy, they embellish their struggles. When they need to downplay responsibility, they minimize their involvement. Small diamond, they manipulate emotions instead of providing proof or explanations. They rely on emotional manipulation, guilt, shame, or anger, to silence any doubts. Small diamond, they gaslight you. If you point out inconsistencies, they may try to convince you that you're misremembering, being paranoid, or overreacting. This psychological tactic erodes confidence in your own perception. The cost of believing lies. Why truth matters. Every lie has a cost. Even the smallest falsehoods create ripples that affect individuals, relationships, workplaces, and entire societies. Cross-mark in personal relationships, lies create distance, break trust, and turn love into suspicion. Cross-mark in business and leadership, dishonesty leads to corruption, dysfunction, and reputational damage. Cross-mark in society, when falsehoods become the norm, truth loses its power, and manipulation governs public perception. Choosing to believe a lie simply because it is comfortable is an act of self-betrayal. True strength lies in facing reality as it is, even when it is difficult. What to do when you catch someone in a lie. So, what should you do when you sense deception? The Stoics advised a measured, rational approach. Checkmark: observe before reacting. Do not confront immediately. Pay attention to inconsistencies, patterns, and their emotional tactics. Checkmark: ask questions, not accusations. A liar will struggle when asked direct, logical questions. Instead of saying, "You're lying," ask, "Can you explain that again?" And note if their story changes. Checkmark: trust actions over words. Many people lie effortlessly, but actions do not lie. If what they do contradicts what they say, believe their actions. Checkmark: trust your intuition. If something feels off, don't dismiss it. Your subconscious mind picks up on subtle cues even when your conscious mind cannot articulate them. Checkmark: distance yourself from habitual liars. You cannot change them, and trying to reason with them will only drain you. The best protection is to remove their influence from your life. Final thoughts. Choose truth over illusion. Lies are seductive. They offer comfort, convenience, and illusion, but they always come at a price. Every time we choose to believe a lie, we surrender a piece of our clarity, our trust, and our ability to see the world as it truly is. The Stoics believe that the pursuit of truth is not just a moral choice, but a path to inner peace. Falsehoods create anxiety, confusion, and emotional turmoil, but truth, even when difficult, frees us from illusion. So the next time you encounter deception, remember, truth may be painful, but it is never destructive. Lies, on the other hand, offer comfort only to trap you in a world that is not real. Choose truth, choose clarity, and most importantly, never ignore the feeling in your gut that tells you something isn't right. The invisible chains of manipulation, how we lose ourselves without realizing it. There's something far more dangerous than outright cruelty, something that doesn't come with bruises, raised voices, or obvious threats. It's silent, insidious, and often disguised as kindness. Manipulation isn't about forcing you to do something against your will. It's about making you believe it was your choice all along. It's the friend who subtly makes you feel like you're never good enough, but insists they're just trying to help you improve. It's the boss who makes you feel guilty for wanting a work-life balance, as if dedication means self-sacrifice. It's the partner who convinces you that their controlling nature is simply a sign of love. And before you even realize it, you're shaped, bent, and molded by forces you never saw coming. The art of influence, how manipulators operate. Manipulation doesn't happen in one dramatic moment. It's slow, calculated, and deeply psychological. The most skilled manipulators don't give direct orders, because that would expose their intentions. Instead, they plant seeds of doubt, obligation, and fear, allowing them to grow inside your mind until you willingly surrender your own agency. They never say, "You must do this." Instead, they craft the situation so that you think, "I have no other choice." They never demand your obedience. They simply make you believe that going against them would be unthinkable. And if you ever start to wake up, to see what's happening, they have a strategy for that. 2. They'll make you feel guilty for doubting them. They'll remind you of everything they've done for you, twisting kindness into a debt you must repay. If that doesn't work, they'll shift tactics, playing the victim, turning others against you, or making you question your own sanity. It's not always malicious. Some manipulators don't even realize what they're doing. They've simply learned, somewhere along the way, that control gives them comfort, that bending others to their will makes them feel safe. But the outcome is the same. You lose yourself in their game. The subtle traps we fall into. There are patterns, common plays in the manipulator's handbook. And once you see them, you'll never unsee them. They use guilt. After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me. They use fear. You'll never find someone who loves you as much as I do. They use obligation. We're family. You owe me. They use self-doubt. You're overreacting. You always make things bigger than they are. And perhaps the most dangerous of all, they use praise. You're the only one who understands me. No one else sees the world like we do. Praise? Dangerous? Yes. Because the moment you depend on their validation, you've handed them the keys to your mind. Now, they control your self-worth. Now, you're desperate not to disappoint them. Now, they don't even need to manipulate you. You do it to yourself. The Stoic perspective, breaking free from invisible chains. The Stoics understood manipulation long before psychology gave it a name. They knew that the strongest prison is not made of walls, but of the beliefs we adopt without questioning them. Epictetus warned, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That's the heart of the issue. Self-mastery is the only defense against external control. Because the truth is, we are all manipulable to some degree. We all have insecurities, desires, and blind spots. We all have moments where we seek approval, fear rejection, or crave validation, and manipulators exploit exactly those weaknesses. So how do we break free? Cultivating inner clarity, the only true defense. The answer isn't to build walls around yourself or shut out the world. It's to build a mind so strong that no one else can hijack it. Checkmark know your values. If you don't know what you stand for, someone else will decide it for you. Get clear on what matters most to you, so that when someone tries to steer you in another direction, you recognize it immediately. Checkmark pay attention to patterns, not apologies. Manipulators will always apologize when caught, but words mean nothing without change. If you notice the same behavior over and over, the apology was just another tool to reset the game. Checkmark trust discomfort. If a relationship, friendship, or job always makes you feel drained, anxious, or uncertain, step back and ask why. Your body often senses manipulation before your mind catches up. Checkmark ask the hard question, are my choices truly mine? Or have they been subtly shaped by someone else's expectations, guilt, or approval? If you were completely free, what would you do differently? The power of awareness, reclaiming your mind. The ultimate tragedy of manipulation is not just that someone controls you, it's that they make you believe you're free. That's why awareness is the most powerful weapon of all. The moment you see the strings, they lose their power. The moment you recognize the patterns, they stop working. The moment you decide that your mind, your choices, and your life belong to you and no one else, you become unshakable. So ask yourself, with brutal honesty, are you truly in control of your choices? Or are they being shaped by someone else's will? Seeing beyond the illusion. Evil does not always announce itself with thunder and lightning. It doesn't always come dressed in black, lurking in the shadows, waiting to strike. More often than not, it walks among us disguised, a familiar smile, a comforting voice, a reassuring touch. Sometimes, it wears the face of a friend. Sometimes, a lover. Sometimes, a mentor we admire. And by the time we recognize it for what it truly is, it may have already taken root deep within our lives, shaping our thoughts, our emotions, and even our sense of self. But here's the truth. We are not powerless. The world will always contain deception, manipulation, and cruelty, but we are not meant to live in fear. Fear closes our hearts, builds walls around our trust, and isolates us from genuine connection. The answer is not to see danger in every person we meet, but to cultivate clarity, discernment, and wisdom, to learn how to recognize the difference between sincerity and illusion. At Practical Philosophy, we believe that true wisdom is the ability to navigate life with awareness and strength, without becoming cynical or paranoid. The Stoics never taught avoidance. They never said, "Fear the world." They taught preparedness. They taught us to sharpen our minds so that deceit cannot cloud our judgment. They taught us to strengthen our character so that external influences do not dictate who we become. So how do we protect ourselves? Not with fear, but with wisdom? We stay vigilant, not paranoid. We trust, but we verify. We observe patterns, not words. And most importantly, we build an inner world so strong, so deeply rooted in truth, that no external force can shake it. Evil thrives in ignorance. It depends on our doubt, our hesitation, our willingness to look away. But once we see beyond the illusion, once we learn to recognize the warning signs before the damage is done, we strip it of its power. If you found value in today's video, consider subscribing to Practical Philosophy for more insights on self-mastery, wisdom, and understanding human nature. Every week, we bring you thought-provoking content to help you navigate life's complexities with clarity and purpose. And before you go, let us know in the comments, have you ever encountered manipulation or deception in your life? How did you recognize it? And what did you learn from the experience? Your stories and insights may help others who are facing similar situations. If you found this message meaningful, please like and share this video to spread awareness. Let's build a community where truth, wisdom, and inner strength are the guiding principles. Stay vigilant, stay aware, and most importantly, stay true to yourself. Because in a world full of deception, the greatest victory is not just avoiding manipulation, it is living with clarity, integrity, and unwavering self-mastery. We'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep growing, keep questioning, and keep seeking wisdom.